Hello, Audiomovers. I'm with my friends from Dulwich Wood Primary School, and we're exploring space rocks. Oh, wow! It's an astronomer!
Hello!
Hello, my name's Charlie, and these are my friends from Dulwich Wood Primary. We've got some questions about space. Can you tell us about yourself and what you do?
So, my name is Jake Foster. I'm an astronomer at the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. And what astronomers do is we study the universe, whether that be planets, asteroids, comets, stars, galaxies, that sort of stuff. But at the Royal Observatory, we want to inspire people to look up at the night sky and learn about these sorts of things. So that's what we want to do, inspire the next generation of astronomers.
That sounds astronomical! I'm already feeling inspired. Who's got the first question for Jake?
My name is Noah, I'm 9-year-old, and I want to know what makes meteors and what makes meteors.
That is a really good question, Noah, and this is one that was actually a mystery for thousands of years. But nowadays we know exactly what makes meteors and what makes meteors. The answer to your first question is that meteors are made essentially when tiny little pebbles and rocks fall into the Earth's atmosphere. They're going really fast and they burn up, creating very bright streaks of light that we call meteors. The things that make those pebbles and rocks are comets and asteroids, and they are big space rocks that fly around the solar system.
My name is Alana, I am 9 years old, and my question is, how does asteroids form?
Thank you for your question, Alana. Well, asteroids originally formed a long time ago, about 4.5 billion years ago, just after the formation of the Sun, around the same time the planets were being formed. Gravity is a powerful force that brings things together, and lots of gas and dust comes together under gravity to form rocks. A lot of those rocks went into building the planets, but the asteroids are the leftover building material, the stuff that didn't go into the planets. And nowadays, that's where it is. Floating through space, not making planets, just floating around.
My name is Lily Beth, and I'm 8 years old. My question is, how big can asteroids get?
Asteroids can get really big. In fact, there are millions of them that are over 1 kilometer in size. So many asteroids are bigger than mountains. They can be bigger than entire cities, in fact. So they are enormous objects. And if they crash into one another, they might break up and become smaller as well over time. But they can be enormous.
My name is Darwin, and I'm 9 years old, and my question is about if the meteors break in space, how would they land onto the ground? Would they land in a big piece or just little small pieces everywhere?
Great question. Well, it really depends on the size of the rock. So really, for a meteor to be big enough to hit the ground, and if it hits the ground, we then call it a meteorite, it would have to be at least 1 meter in size. So it would have to be a really big rock for it to hit the ground. Now, as it falls down through the sky towards the ground, it might break up into smaller pieces. It really depends on how strong the rock is. Sometimes they do break up, or sometimes they come down in one big piece. One thing we do know is even if they do hit the ground, we usually don't have to worry. Most of them land in the ocean. The vast majority of the Earth's surface is covered in water. That's where most of the meteorites tend to land.
That's an amazing fact, Jake. Thanks. But I'm still a little confused. Meteors? Meteorites? What's the difference?
It's a really good question, and yes, astronomers aren't trying to confuse people, but sometimes these things do. So these space rocks can have different names depending on what they're doing. So when these little pebbles left behind by comets and asteroids, when they're just floating in space, we call them meteoroids. When they fall down to Earth, we call them meteors. And if they make it all the way down to the ground, we call them meteorites.
Yes, I think I get it now. Thanks.
Hello, my name's Robin, I'm 8 years old, and I have a question. Are rocks that form meteors dangerous?
It's a good question, and luckily, the rocks that form meteors are not dangerous. These meteors, the little rocks that they come from, they are usually smaller than a grain of sand. So they are absolutely tiny, and they burn up completely, usually 100 kilometers above the ground. So they never even hit the ground. So there's no risk to us at all, just a brilliant light show that we can enjoy.
Phew! Thank goodness for that. But have they ever not landed in the ocean?
Yes, so there have been recorded cases of meteorites landing near towns and cities. Luckily, there's not been anyone hurt by these in a very, very long time, which is very lucky. But they've been known to go through people's ceilings, to go through the roof of their house and land in their bedroom. That's been reported a few times as well.
Hi, my name is Blake. I'm 9 years old, and my question is, how do meteors pick up speed if they're in zero gravity?
Well, this is an interesting one because there's actually two different things going on that cause this. Firstly, the Earth is constantly moving. As it orbits around the Sun, it's travelling about 30 kilometres every second. So, in a way, it's the Earth that is smashing into the meteors as much as the meteors are coming towards the Earth. And the closer they get to each other, the Earth's gravity pulls on those meteors. In the same way, the Earth's gravity pulls on us, which is why when we jump, we always come back down again. The meteors will fall towards the Earth if they get close enough.
My name is Nico and I'm 8 years old. My question is, how long does it take for meteors to hit the Earth?
Thank you for your question, Nico. It's a really good question because these meteors, as they're falling towards the Earth, they're traveling incredibly fast. About 25,000 miles per hour is a normal speed for a meteor. If they burn up, then they might only be traveling for about 1 or 2 seconds before they burn up. If they're coming all the way down to the ground, it might be a minute or 2 instead, but they're incredibly fast.
That's out of this world! What does a meteor shower look like from Earth?
Well, the best thing about a meteor shower is you don't need any equipment for it. You don't need a telescope, you don't need a pair of binoculars. In fact, it's better without them. Meteors look like beautiful, bright streaks of light that barely last a second up in the sky, and it's hard to know where they're going to come from. So the best thing you can do is get a wide view of the sky. That could be laying back on a deck chair or lying down on a blanket. And hopefully, if you've got nice, clear skies, you can see, well, many of them.
I'm definitely going to do that, Jake. But if I want to invite friends and family, they might ask me what it is exactly, and I'm not sure I could explain that. So, what is a meteor shower?
That's a really good question. Well, meteor showers are created by comets and asteroids. As these enormous space rocks pass through our part of the solar system, they leave behind a little trail of tiny rocks and pebbles. And as the Earth moves into that area of space, those tiny rocks and pebbles fall into our atmosphere and they burn up, creating these beautiful little streaks of light that we call meteors, or sometimes shooting stars.
Hi, my name is Bo, and I have a question. What happens if meteorites don't hit the Earth?
Thank you for your question, Bo. One of the first things to note is that if it didn't hit the Earth, we wouldn't call it a meteorite. If it burnt up in the sky, we'd call it a meteor, and if it's still up there in space, a meteoroid. But if it doesn't hit the Earth, it will stay up in space. It may continue to travel on its path around the Sun, and then maybe when the Earth travels around the Sun once again, it may then pull on that meteoroid. But otherwise, it'll stay in space. Who knows? Maybe it'll travel elsewhere in the solar system and go and land on another planet instead.
Wow, thank you so much, Jake. That was so interesting. I can't wait to see my first meteor shower.
Thank you so much to all of the children at Dulwich Wood Primary School for your fantastic questions. It's always good to be curious and learn more, especially about space, if you ask me. So thank you so much for your questions.
Thanks for tuning into Audiomoves today. If you loved learning these fascinating space facts, why not take it to the next level? Try one of our movement episodes and float on the moon, dodge asteroids, and soar through the stars right from your own home. Don't forget to subscribe, share with friends, and leave a review. If space has captured your imagination, you're in luck. We've covered loads of fascinating space-related topics in other episodes of this series. And if you enjoyed hearing from today's astronomer, why not take your curiosity even further? Check out the Royal Observatory in Greenwich. it's the perfect place to expand your cosmic knowledge. See you next time!